he actually did one of these. Could the X-Men survive the Flash? The X-Men are cooking the Flash, bro. Nope. I don't care what nobody says. The X-Men are cooking the Flash. There is no way the Flash takes down the whole entire team of X-Men because the X-Men are just better. They're just better. And just the Flash against the X-Men, that's kind of like, it's justifiable because the Flash is broken, right? He is broken. And I'm sure, like, in reality, Flash could take down everybody in a millisecond, but the X-Men are a team. This definitely isn't going to be a blow for blow type of deal for sure, because they could never go blow for blow or speed for speed with Flash. I mean, X-Men have Quicksilver, but Quicksilver is basically a turtle and the Flash is a jet. You know what I mean? Like, it's not comparable at all. But yeah, let's see. Could the X-Men survive the Flash? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. Could the X-Men survive the Flash? They have a chance. They have a chance.
The X-Mansion has about 10 seconds left, and nobody inside knows it yet. The front gate is already gone. Scattered across the lawn is molten slag because the thing that melted it is moving faster than the security cams can refresh. It looks like Barry Allen. It isn't Barry anymore. An alien intelligence called Brainiac is in the driver's seat, and it has pointed the fastest man alive at a building full of mutants.
Yikes.
One detail before the screaming starts. Upstairs, one man doesn't get out of his chair. Everyone else is already
One
running.
man doesn't
He
get out of his
isn't.
chair.
Remember him.
They can't.
This is Mike.
Damn it.
We're back for another awesome video for Nerd Science. Leave your like, subscribe, and let's roll it.
Let's
And here's the
roll it.
rule that makes this survivable at all, because it matters. This isn't Barry picking his shots. A focused flash ends this in 1 millisecond, and there's no video. This is a hijacked
See,
body.
like, I like to think if the Flash knows about the X-Men and the X-Men don't know about Flash, maybe, I guess, right? But if they both know, if the X-Men know about Flash and Flash knows about the X-Men, it'll be a different story. If they don't know about him, he's pulling up and he's definitely ripping everybody apart. No doubt, no doubt.
Swinging on pure reflex at lethal speed. A puppet and not a marksman. That's the only reason anyone gets to throw a punch back. Today, we score every mutant in that mansion, F to S, on one question. Do they actually live? The front lawn, brute force fails first.
Of
Before
course.
anyone swings, you have to understand what's coming up the driveway.
Colossus is a steel wall for the X-Men right now. That's all he is.
Because the science is the scary part. Slow down with me for a second. The energy in a moving body climbs with the square of its speed. Double how fast you go, and you don't double the damage, you quadruple it. So when this thing winds up near light speed, the fist stops being a fist. It becomes a bomb. It doesn't bruise a target, it deletes it. And the air drag behind it arrives a half second later as a wall of heat and pressure. Standing within arm's reach at a full sprint is a death sentence before he's even decided to swing. Colossal doesn't know that yet, so he does the most colossal thing possible. He turns to organic steel and plants himself between the Blur and the kids. Bravest call on the lawn.
Wow.
Also the worst. Steel is...
Flash could put a hole through Colossus, possibly, right? Maybe. Damn. Oh my god. Imagine that, though. Oh my god. That would be... Ugh.
hard. Steel is also heavy, and a 500-pound body can't change direction in the sliver of time it's given. He tanks the first pass, and for a second, it looks like he held. Then a follow-up folds him backward across 40 feet of grass, because durability assumes you survive the hit. And at these speeds, the hit lands 1,000 times before your nerve registers the first one. Tier D. And that D is generous. Nightcrawler's plan is to never be where the punch is. Teleport, reappear, teleport again, turn it into a guessing game. Problem is, teleporting is a reaction. A reaction needs a trigger. And you can't react to something that already hit you. Kurt is fast for a man. He's nothing for a god. The blur catches him between jumps, tier F, and it has nothing to do with courage. Then,
Okay, Flash he's a god, but calm down on the has nothing to a god. X-Men they're gods in their own right too. No. I didn't like how he said how Kurt is nothing to a god. Like Kurt is busted. He can do so much. The Flash, he's tough. He's got his super speed allows him to do virtually almost anything, I feel like. Just about. And it's weird because his abilities are only super speed, but it's more than that within that speed. Like, you know, all the extra stuff or whatever, but it's nothing to a god.
there's Logan, who doesn't dodge at all because Wolverine fights a different war. He plants his feet, takes the strike, gets shredded, and his healing factor stitches him back together for the next one. And here's the honest part. A calculated light speed punch would atomize him, leave nothing to heal. But remember the rule. The body is swinging on reflex, not aiming kill shots.
Flash would even be able to, like, destroy the animanium, basically? Or what? He just say his punch would atomize Wolverine, so turn him into dust. Oh, man. Literally. Okay, yeah. I know Flash is that broken, too. I know I said in the beginning, I know he's broken. Like, I know he is, but the X-Men are broken, too.
So Logan keeps getting wrecked and keeps getting up. A speed bump that refuses to stay flat while everyone else regroups. He can't win. He genuinely can't land a meaningful hit on a target moving this fast. Tier B. The strangest grade on the board because surviving and winning turn out to be two completely different things. Cyclops tries the move that should work on paper. Hit the blur with something as fast as it is.
You know damn well Cyclops would never ever be able to get a precise beam shot anywhere close to where Flash could be. With the Flash, you have to kind of know the future. I feel like, kind of, in a way. You can't play off what the Flash does. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You're gonna miss everything.
Pure concussive force. No heat, just a wall of pressure. And it crosses the lawn the instant his eyes open. A normal speedster could never sidestep it, so Scott fires. The beam flies true.
Wait, a normal speedster?
Barry simply vibrates.
What did he say? A normal speedster?
And it crosses the lawn hit the blur with something as fast as it is. His optic blast is pure concussive force. No heat, just a wall of pressure. And it crosses the lawn the instant his eyes open. A normal speedster could never sidestep it, so Scott fires. The beam flies true, and Barry simply vibrates his molecules to vapor and lets the whole thing pass through the space where his chest used to be solid. That's the moment Scott reads the real shape of this fight. You can't beat this with output, because he can dodge it, phase through it, or outrun it. The only currency left is position and timing. Cyclops survives by being the first one smart enough to stop.
How the hell does Flash let Cyclops go? This man Flash just got done tearing up Colossus and Wolverine and let Cyclops walk back to the mansion. What the No, Flash would have taken Cyclops apart.
Shooting and start pulling the team toward ground they control. Tier C, earned with his head instead of his eyes. First lesson, learned the hard way. The problem is the body. The danger room, speed, ice, and weather. Scott falls back and lures the blur into the danger room, the one place the X-Men get to write the rules. First in is Quicksilver. And this is the matchup everyone wants. The fast guy versus the fastest guy. Honest verdict, Pietro is incredible by human standards and almost nothing by Barry's. On a good day, he tops out around the edge of supersonic, and some showings push him faster, but Barry treats the Pietro is incredible by human standards and almost nothing by Barry's. On a good day, he tops out around the edge
Bro.
is supersonic.
Bro, it's like the Flash is like, that looks so crazy. That looks so tough, low key. Like
Almost nothing by berries. On a good day, he tops out around the
what did he do? Like
around the edge of supersonic.
like
And some
bouncing up and down so fast that like he created like a portal or something. Like that's like crazy.
He tops out around the edge of supersonic, and some showings push him faster, but Barry treats the speed of light as a starting line. This isn't a race. It's a kid jogging next to a fighter jet for exactly as long as the jet ignores him.
Exactly.
And that's the trick. Brainiac wants Barry shredding the whole room, not chasing one fly. So Pietro gets ignored long enough to do his job. He buys seconds, and seconds are the only currency the team has left. Tier C, and everyone he steals goes straight into the plan. Iceman is where it turns, and the reason
I forgot
is
about
heat.
Iceman too.
The blur generates ferocious friction just by moving, so most defenders melt before the punch even connects. Bobby Drake runs colder than that. He can drag the air around him down toward absolute zero, minus 273 degrees. More than that, at full power, Bobby isn't really solid. Shatter his ice body and he reforms from the moisture in the air. Because an Omega level Iceman is closer to a weather system than a person. There's nothing to punch to death when nothing solid stays put. And worse for Barry, his own speed heat is just feeding the exact element Bobby eats. Tier A. The first time all night, the blur hesitates. Storm hands the team the thing they haven't had yet, a hit that arrives. Almost every attack is too slow to reach a moving flash. Lightning isn't. It's an electrical discharge that...
I wouldn't expect Storm really to be able to do too much other than maybe try to do something with the weather to slow him down, possibly just even if it's by like a smidge of a millisecond, whatever the smallest like millisecond. That's all she could probably really do against the Flash. But I forgot about Iceman. Iceman could definitely, yeah, he could easily survive the Flash for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like the X-Men's Omega level mutants are on a different level. The Omega level mutants are more definitely on Justice League level, kind of ish.
crosses the room faster than any fist. Ororo reads his path and puts a bolt where he's gonna be, not where he is. And for one blinding instant, the blur gets tagged. Now, here's the wrinkle nobody expects. And it's the kind of thing I think about more than I should. The Flash runs on the Speed Force, and the Speed Force loves electricity. So the bolt connects, and Barry mostly just drinks it. It barely scratches him, but that doesn't make Storm's hit worthless. It's proof. Proof he can be touched at all. And that one idea spreads through the team like the current did. Tier B with an asterisk, because she just changed the math for everyone who comes after her. So now the X-Men have a problem they actually want. They've landed real blows. The room is theirs.
God, look
and then Brainiac men have a problem they actually want. They've landed real blows. The room is theirs. And then Brainiac does the thing you do right after someone starts winning. He escalates. He has the body start phasing, walking its molecules straight through the ice and the traps and the walls. I know what this is starting to feel like. Every wall they build, he just strolls through. It feels unwinnable. Stay with me, because that's not where this ends.
It's not.
Wild cards, phasing, magnetism, and the one touch. If the blur can go intangible, exactly one person on the roster is built to answer it. Kitty Pryde phases too. So when his fist comes through the wall, it comes straight through her and out the far side, touching nothing. For the first time, the fight stalls because you can't hit what can't be hit. The catch is that a stalemate isn't a win. Kitty can stand in that storm forever and never end it, so she becomes the anchor everyone else builds around. Tier A, the immovable object that finally makes the unstoppable force pause. Magneto walks in expecting to end it with one gesture. Then he hits a wall of biology. The body is mostly water and carbon, and the iron in human blood is bound up and barely magnetic, so there's nothing clean for him to grab and crush from the inside. That old myth dies right here. What Eric can do is turn the whole mansion into a weapon, ripping steel beams and floor plating into a shifting maze that forces the blur down corridors the team chose. He can't catch him. He can hurt him. And hurting a god toward a trap is worth more than it sounds. Tier B, the only mind in the room that built an actual cage. Gambit gets the cleverest idea of the night, and it nearly works. He charges objects with kinetic energy until they detonate. So instead of chasing a moving target, he salts the floor with charged cards and debris and turns Barry's own speed into a trigger. The faster the blur runs, the more ground it covers, the more little bombs it sets off just by passing through. It's the rare attack that gets stronger the faster the Flash goes. Because Remy isn't aiming at Barry. He's aiming at where Barry has to be. Most of it gets phased through, a few catch the shockwave of his passing, and for a heartbeat, the room lights up. Tier B, easily the most creative loss of the night. And then there's Rogue, the wild card this whole fight's been quietly waiting on. One bare touch drains power, memory, and...
That's what I'm saying, like, the X-Men have so many of these, like, characters, too, who could instantly just turn a fight around. You know what I mean? Instantly. For sure, against anything, I feel like.
The energy straight out of a target, which means, in theory, she could rip the speed force right out of his skin and drop him cold. In theory. Because landing a single touch on a near light speed phasing opponent is the hardest ask in the building. Harder than tanking it, harder than freezing him. So Rogue lives on two tiers at once. Tier F for her odds of ever connecting on her own, and Tier S for what happens in the half second if she does, which leaves the team standing in the wreckage with one ugly realization. Every physical answer caps out at the ceiling. Their reflexes are electrochemical, chemical signals crawling down nerves. And there's exactly one system in the body that doesn't run on that clock. The astral plane. Why minds beat speed.
There we go.
Here's the science the whole fight's been circling. And pause with me on this one because it's the answer. Every dodge, every block, every twitch starts as a signal crawling down a nerve at about 100 meters per second, taking roughly a quarter second to go from sense to reaction. That's why Colossus folded and Kurt got caught. Their bodies are wired to clock the blur laps 1,000,000 times before one neuron finishes firing. You cannot react your way out of this fight because reacting is the thing that's too slow. Telepathy doesn't ask the body's permission.
Imagine that, though. Imagine not being able to, or imagine fighting something that you can't react to. Again, like I said, like, you have to know the future. Like, you have to know the future, basically. That's what I'm saying. You have to. Otherwise, it's you're cooked. You're cooked. Every action you do, it's almost, even if you don't try to react to the Flash, like, you will be reacting to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. It's almost like you have to ignore him and just go straight. Go straight. If that makes any sense.
Mind reaching another mind isn't waiting on a nerve to carry a message down to an arm. It doesn't ride the physical plane at all. So it never has to be faster than his fists. It just has to find his head. But here's the part most people miss, and it's why this couldn't happen in 1 second. Barry doesn't just move at light speed. He thinks at it. His mind races as fast as his legs, which makes it a blur of its own. Almost impossible for a telepath to pin while the body's loose and rampaging. That's what every encounter before this was actually for. Iceman slowing his reactions, Magneto's maze, Kitty's stall, Gambit's minds,
See?
forcing him
A
into
team.
chosen paths. None of it was ever going to kill him. All of it was cornering him, pinning the body so the psychics could finally pin the mind. That's the loophole the whole roster was missing. The Bruisers were trying to win a foot race they'd already lost the moment Barry decided to run. The psychics skip the race and walk in through a door the Speed never guarded. Jean Grey understands this before she moves. She raises psionic shields that don't need to block a punch in time because they live on a plane that Blur can't run across. Then she reaches into the storm and grabs the only part of him that isn't moving at light speed, the part doing the thinking. Tier S, and she earns it by refusing to fight the fight everyone else lost. Charles Xavier is the actual win condition, and he never throws a thing. While Jean holds the line, the
doesn't ever have
professor,
to
the
throw
one who
anything.
never got out of his chair, walks straight into Barry Allen's mind and finds Brainiac coiled around it like a parasite at the wheel. He doesn't outrun the Flash. He outthinks the thing steering it, prying the control loose one strand at a time while the body keeps swinging on reflex. Tier S, the quietest and most lethal performance in the building. The
Most
climax lasts a fraction of a second. Jean and Xavier clamp the Mind Still just long enough to freeze the man inside the Blur. And that split second quietly converts an impossible problem into a simple one. For one heartbeat, Barry isn't faster than light. He's a man standing in one spot, and a still target is a target Rogue can finally reach. Storm's lesson pays off. Rogue gets her hand on bare skin, and the Speed Force drains out of him in a rush. Brainiac's grip snaps, and the fastest man alive drops to his knees on the Danger Room floor as Barry Allen again, horrified at what his own hands just did. The X-Men survived. Nobody survived by being tougher, and nobody survived by being faster. Because tougher and faster were always gonna lose. They lived by going after the one part of Barry that Brainiac could never make move quickly enough, the part between his ears, against the fastest man in the universe. The strongest mutant in that mansion was the one in the wheelchair who never stood up. Drop a comment and tell me which X-Men you'd bet on here, because I guarantee your S tier and mine don't match. And if you want to know whether
He's
your
throwing
own body
shots.
could survive even 10 seconds next to a Flash, that breakdown's coming next.
Dude, yeah, let me know what you guys thought about that down in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. The X-Men versus Flash. Yeah, the X-Men could, they could, right, in theory, like, for sure, fight against the Flash. Not fight against the Flash, but outsmart the Flash, right? I know the Flash is broken. I know, but X-Men are just better. Oh, and we got this next. Avengers versus Squad. That's an easy fight. That's an easy fight, but that's a badass thumbnail. I can't wait to watch that shit.